Hi, this is Josh Tabor, one of the two co-authors of The Practice of Statistics. Thank you so much for considering our book. In this short presentation, I want to cover the top 5 reasons to upgrade from TPS 5e to the updated version of TPS 6e. By far, the most important reason to consider switching is that the updated version of TPS 6e is fully aligned to the CED. The CED is the course and exam description for AP Statistics, the document published by the College Board that determines what's on the AP Statistics exam. Our book is fully aligned to the CED. I want to share just a quick history of sort of the interaction between the CED and TPS. TPS 5e was published in 2014 or so. In 2018, we published what we now call the classic version of TPS 6e, kind of like Coca-Cola Classic. That was published right before the CED came out. Well, shortly after the CED came out, there was a number of changes that were important. And so we sat back down and we recreated TPS 6, and now we call it the updated version of TPS 6. And it is fully aligned to the CED, and honestly, in my opinion, of course, the best choice for an AP Statistics class. All the new topics from the CED are included in the updated version in the appropriate location. So it's not just in a supplement or something like that. So mosaic plots show up where they should. Systematic sampling shows up where it should. Standard deviation of geometric random variables and all the other little new topics and little points of emphasis, they all are integrated fully into the book. So it's one cohesive story. Also, you'll note that the chapter sequence aligns with the CED units. In TPS, we have 12 chapters. There's 9 CED units, but they go in the same order. In 5e, the book that you're used to, the inference chapters were organized by the type of procedure. So we had a chapter on confidence intervals for one parameter, and then significance tests for one parameter, and then confidence intervals and significance tests for a difference in parameters. And it was organized by type of procedure. The course and exam description chose to organize it by type of data. So everything about proportions is first, then everything about means is second. Proportions is unit 6, means is unit 7 in the CED. And so we reorganized our inference chapters as well as the rest of the book, but especially the inference chapters to match the CED. So now our chapter 8 is about confidence intervals for proportions, 1 and 2 sample. And then we do significance tests for proportions, 1 and 2 sample. Then we move on to means following that same pattern. And of course, wrapping up with chi-square and inference for slope. Now, having a book that is in the same order as the CED is advantageous in a number of ways. It especially makes it useful for using the materials that the College Board has produced, including the AP Daily videos that are brand new this year, as well as the personal progress checks and the topic questions. All of those materials were produced assuming that students are going through the book in order. So if there's a topic question in Unit 7, it assumes that you've already learned Unit 6. So having a textbook that's fully aligned to the course and exam description is going to make it a lot easier to take advantage of the many great resources that the College Board is producing. All right, the second reason you might consider upgrading is improved examples. So all examples in TPS 6 are now in problem solution format. In the 5th edition, we had a mixture of problem solution format and also what we called narrative examples. And now they're all in problem solution format. And that's good because it provides students an example of how they're supposed to write their solutions. Another improvement as far as the examples is that the voice of the student is now indicated with a special font, providing students a clear example of a model AP-style solution. And the voice of the teacher has been separated out into teacher talk boxes. So you can see an example here on the screen. I didn't show you the question, but it was a 3-part question. And you can see that the student solution is over here on the left. And then the little comments that a teacher might want to make, hey, you know, another way to calculate the margin of error is to divide the width of the interval by 2, right? That doesn't need to be part of the student solution, but that's something we want students thinking about as they work through this example. In the 5th edition, that was more or less integrated into one longer solution. And that was challenging for students to know, like, what exactly of this longer solution do I need to include in my answer? And so now it's very direct for students that they can see, yes, this is what an answer to this type of question is supposed to look like. and they can still have that benefit of a teacher standing by them, giving them suggestions and hints and reminders about important things. Continuing to talk about the examples, more than 30% of the examples are new or revised from the 5th edition. Also, having more worked examples means more videos for students, both for examples and corresponding exercises. I know my students like watching those videos, and they're very helpful and build confidence knowing that they're being presented by experienced AP teachers. There's also a much tighter alignment between learning targets, examples, and exercises. We summarize that at the end of the chapter with the What Did You Learn grid that has the learning targets, the sections, the examples, and the corresponding chapter review exercises. So there's a nice tight alignment between those features that's going to help you as a teacher know how to organize your course as well as what exercises to assign and all of that. The third reason you might consider upgrading is the digital resources. So because many more of our examples are now worked examples, we've got hundreds of additional videos produced by experienced AP readers, including for every example in the book, selected exercises, that is the exercises that sort of correspond to those examples, all chapter review exercises and all tech corners, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos that will make your life a lot easier, especially in times like this where you may be teaching remotely. Also, we have a sapling platform that contains the ebook as well as an online homework system. This year was the first year I've ever used that in my class after teaching AP Stats for 24 years, and it's great. What's nice about it compared to other online homework systems is that almost all of the homework problems were written specifically for TPS. So there's no worries about different use of vocabulary or formulas or formatting or anything like that. It really is built specifically for TPS, and that makes it really handy. And of course, the best part about an online homework system is it gives instant feedback for students. Whether they get a question right or wrong, it gives them feedback about or hints about how to get it right. So that's been really invaluable for my students this year. The fourth reason to consider upgrading is teacher support. So the annotated teachers edition in the 6th edition was written by Luke Wilcox, taking over for me, honestly. I wrote the teachers edition for the 4th and 5th edition, and I'm not just saying this, it's better. Every edition it gets better. And Luke added 3 new features that are really great, including preparing for inference. So there's lots of things that we do in the book early on that helps prepare for inference. And so this feature really calls that out and makes sure teachers know how to emphasize that. There's also notes about making connections throughout the course, and Ask the Stats Medic. Luke Wilcox, of course, is one of the stats medics, and he's got a wonderful website that has lots of ideas for lesson plans, blog posts, and other things related to teaching statistics. So good references to those there as well. As far as our tests and quizzes, with the 5th edition, we provided 3 or 4 tests and quizzes for each section and chapter, and you've probably discovered that teachers or students post those online, even though we asked them not to. So what we did this edition is we reimagined our system. So now we only provide 1 sample test and 1 sample quiz per chapter or per section, so that there's not as much of a temptation to just post things online. And what we did to compensate for that is we really enhanced the test bank, almost building it from the ground up. So a lot of the questions that used to be in the tests and quizzes are now in the test bank, plus lots and lots more. And they're tagged with different, so you can filter it different ways and identify questions. And so what this allows you to do then is create tests and quizzes that are not going to be searchable online. Maybe a question or 2 here and there, but certainly not a whole set of questions. And so that's going to really help reduce cheating and still not make your life as a teacher really any more difficult. Also, there's PD videos from authors, including Darren and myself and Luke, talking you through preparing for different chapters as well as different sections and other features of the book. Okay. Finally, number 5, it's really nothing new. It's all the things you love about TPS 5e, they're still there, right? It's still easy to read. It's still easy to use. It's still very heavily focused on AP exam preparation. We're the only book in the market that's written specifically for AP Stats and no other market like college or something like that. And so that means we can be exclusively focused on helping your students do well on the AP exam. So we've got AP exam tips throughout the book. We've got the Frappy at the end of each chapter. That's free response, AP problem, yay! And cumulative tests every couple of chapters, as well as other things that are geared towards the AP exam. We still utilize the 4-step process for inference, which is a great way to organize work and results in very high scores for my students on inference questions on the AP exam. That's by far what they do best on, and I know it's because of the 4-step process. We still emphasize activities and include lots of activities to help students develop conceptual understanding. And of course, still the best. We kept that in there too. All right, so thank you for listening. I know Nicole's going to treat you well with other videos about other aspects of the program. If you have any questions for me as a teacher or as an author, there's my email address, taborstats@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And again, thanks for listening.